Yo guys, welcome back to another episode. Woo! This has been a fun journey. I'm having so much fun producing all this. I know some of you guys may think that producing content is annoying, but to me, I actually enjoy it because I get to talk about things that are near and dear to my heart and make me happy to talk about. And I get to share that with you guys, and that makes me even more happy. So again, I appreciate you being here. If you're here for the first time, man, welcome to the channel. Hit that subscribe button, smash the like button, help us get that algorithm pushed up. Really want to get our videos seen, and we're putting a lot of effort into bringing a lot more blue collar content, talking about the trades. Tradesmen, tradeswomen, doesn't make a difference. We're here for everybody, and we're truly grateful to all of you, especially the guys that have been here already. And like I said, for the new guys, it's greatly appreciated, and it's a lot of fun, building this channel. With all that being said, man, this is like a week 2 kind of training for us. And in this one, we're going to talk about, differentiating yourself between, being the worker, basically. So being the tradesman and then being the business owner, and then how the two should be able to combine. And there's nobody else better to explain this to you than me. That's why I'm on here shooting this video. But the truth is, that's kind of my background. I came up in construction. I built houses from the ground up. Really wasn't many jobs that I hadn't done at one time or another. It's not that I did them every day, but I've dug foundations, I've done roofs, I've done sheetrocking, I've done trims and kitchens, bathrooms, the whole 9 yards, soup to nuts. I could pretty much build you a house. But then I left that profession and I got an opportunity to work with my family in the family business, doing boilers and plumbing work. And I'm telling you guys all this because I'm painting you a picture. So when I was doing the construction stuff, I did a lot of little jobs of my own, little side jobs. I never considered it my own business, like a little side hustle. We all have little side hustles where we want to make a couple extra dollars, maybe off the books, maybe on the books. I don't want to get myself in trouble in here, but you know what I'm trying to say. With that being said, when I went into the family business, the idea was in a particular amount, not in any particular amount of time. The idea was for me to learn the business and take over the company at some point. Now, I'm not going to get you all tied up into all the little details. I don't think it's necessary. But what is necessary for you guys to understand, and I learned this now as a 43-year-old man who has my own company going on. Going into our 7th year. It's so vital to learn whatever business you're in from the ground up. Because, it's not like you're in a paper pusher type of job. Yes, there's paperwork involved, right? I'm in the boiler space. There's permitting. There's other things to do. All that stuff is necessary. But I'm in a mechanical field. So you really got to know the mechanics from the ground up. So again, I also want to reiterate, this is the type of channel that the things I talk about can work across the board in every department. So that you're an electrician, you're a contractor. Yeah, I always say the same things. There's linemen, there's too many blue collar jobs to just mention in a video. I would just go on and on for the whole video talking about it. But if you're here and you're in the blue collar space and you're in the trades, a trade of any sort, it does not make a difference. This same thing that I'm talking about holds true for you and anybody else, because my business wouldn't be where it is today without laying the groundwork. So my stepfather, when I first came into the business, I didn't know what to expect. I was a worker. I had already been building houses for 9-10 years and had the experience of doing grunt work. And there's nothing wrong with grunt work. Yeah, I'm a worker. Till this day, I tell my team, and I'm like, I'm a worker, dude. Like, yes, I do office stuff. Yes, I have communication with customers. Yes, I'm building on relationships. Yes, I'm doing a lot of those things. And that's kind of what I'm going to get into on this video. But I'm a worker bee. And so that's why I say, like, nobody knows better than me how to take being a grunt worker, the guy who's just doing whatever needs to be done to get the job done, and then tying that into the ability to run a company and what's necessary to run that company while having the foundation built of all the time you've spent in whatever industry you're in. So, I will talk a lot more about my experiences in my perspective field because that's my experience, but that does not mean that the videos can't be taken from anybody else in any other industry. You 1000% can take this same mindset, same way of doing things, tie it into your own prospective company. Or if you're working in, you're an entrepreneur, and that's okay too. The world needs entrepreneurs and entrepreneurs. More importantly for this channel is to discuss with you guys, bringing more attention, showing the positive sides and the negative sides. Listen, we can't talk about the positives without talking about the negatives in the trade field, okay? Man, woman, does not make a difference who you are, where you come from, what your background is. I'm trying to bring awareness to the blue collar space because I think it's a place that we have not put enough emphasis in. Everybody started, around the time that I got into construction, maybe 5, 6, 7 years later, everybody wanted to be a computer programmer. And then people started doing this and started doing that. And the truth is, if you look around you, AI is starting to take over all these lower level jobs. I'm not knocking people, but to me, they're lower level. A lot of these jobs, these guys go to school for 4 years, 6 years, whatever. They come out of school, you have this degree, and you got to start from the bottom anyway. So I push very hard for people to come into the trades because I think once you're in the trades, first of all, the pay right out of the gate is pretty good for apprenticeships, especially these days. And then as you evolve, as you learn, as you grow, the money is laughable what you can make. So I'm really just taking my time to bring awareness to this. And part of that is having these discussions with you guys and letting you know how we're going to tie all these things together. So when I came into the business, one of the things he discussed with me is knowing all the ins and outs of being a mechanic and understanding the plumbing. And again, I'm going back to my experience. So understanding the plumbing, understanding the electrical as it pertains to the burners and stuff, because we're working on big equipment and there's a lot of safeties involved and a lot of safety period involved. And there's a lot of knowledge that has to go into being able to figure out and navigate through different jobs. And he made a great point to me early on when I first started, because I really didn't know what I was going to do. Like, he brought me in, and it really wasn't discussed. The only thing that was discussed is the ability to eventually, down the road, take over the company. And that was the big thing for me. I was like, all right, well, here's my opportunity, and I got to seize it, and you got to seize the moment. When an opportunity presents itself, if you're not the type of person to seize the moment, well, maybe you're not the type of person to run your own company, and that's okay. Not everybody was put on this earth to run their own business. But with that being said, these are still skills that you need to learn, because there will come a time in your business life that you're going to need to have relationships with customers, and then you're going to look back and realize that your mechanical knowledge that you gained and that foundation that you built is going to be so solid you'll be able to answer almost any question that's asked of you. So now, as I have my own company, now fast forward, right? It didn't work out with family in the end, ultimately. And that's okay, but I carried that with me all the time. And so in the last few years that I worked with family, I really started to hone in on my relationships with the customers. And I also had built up a 6-7 year knowledge base of the business, the problems that we face, certain things. So I was able to start answering questions for the customers. Through that process, I met customers that became future customers, because it didn't work out with the family, but some of those same people migrated my way, because now I had taken what was initially just like learning, and I was the brute guy on the job, and I was like threading pipe and soldering and learning burner service and doing wiring and electrical and all this stuff. But what you need to realize is, while you're doing those things, that's the foundation that you're building. And then you become an asset on many levels, right? On one level, you're an asset because you have a knowledge that your company, or if it's your company, is needed. On the other side, as you meet clients, as you start to build up your client list, if you're a business owner or whatever, you're now able to answer all those hard questions that are going to come. I don't care what industry you're in. There's always going to be a mechanic that needs to answer hard questions. So how amazing would it be if it's your business eventually, and you're the person answering the hard questions because you've put the time in to build that foundation to be able to answer all those questions. So now fast forward, I'm in my company going on 7 years, and I am that go-to. I have become the guy that all my field guys now are looking to. I still go out in the field at times, and I do a lot of training with the guys, and I put a lot of efforts in there. But generally speaking, when my customers call, I got to be the guy with all the answers. It was huge, changed everything for me. And in my opinion, what makes you a really good tradesman or woman is not just the ability to do the grunt work, right? Because even now, as I have team members under me, I expect more of these guys. I want them to take on more managerial roles. Not everybody's for it, and not everybody's wants to do it, and that's okay, right? I got to cross those bridges as I get there, but there are guys that can, and that's how I build them up, right? Eventually they can become, have either small partnerships or, running parts of my company, and we're working out better deals. And this is the point I'm trying to make to you guys. The opportunities are immense and the ceiling is so freaking high. There's almost no ceiling, but I have to leave a little ceiling, because unless you have, interest financially into the company, I'm always going to hold a majority ownership. But, with that, it's not all sunshine and rainbows, right? There's a lot of failures that come along the way. It's not always fantastic. But like anything else in life, the more you fail, the harder you fall, the more you get up, the better you're going to become, So, it's not just for plumbing. That's a life experience right there. The more you're falling on your face and picking yourself back up, well, guess what? It's not so nice being down there on the floor. So you learn to be a little bit better in those different departments, and you show up as a different person. So, and part of these experiences is learning how to deal with people, right? Like, you're going to get to a point where you're a manager. Well, you can't be a manager if you're just the grunt guy all the time. You're going to have to be somebody that is willing to manage men or women. And with that, it's like being a little bit of a people person, but learning how to communicate with people in a way that's clear and concise. This way that everything gets done the way it's supposed to be done. We can sit here and we can beat these things down all the time. But the truth is, it really comes down to the efforts that you're willing to put in. And I'm telling you, as God is my witness, as my own experiences, if you do these things where you put the time into learning the mechanical stuff, simultaneously learning how to deal with people, learning how to manage people, maybe you take a couple guys underneath your wing as you grow into this space. But now, as I look back at almost 43 years old, I don't want to get too far ahead because it's not till December, but at almost 43 years old, being able to now mesh those two worlds together, where I know I can do all the mechanical stuff ever. I tell my guys all the time, like, I'll never have you do something I'm not willing to do or I haven't done already. And I stand by that statement because I've already been there. I've already experienced it. I can always speak from a place of somebody who's done it. And then I now match that with my ability to communicate with people and explain things to people in a very clear, concise way. Because you got to remember, you start learning mechanical verbiage, and then you have to speak to people in like a layman's terms. And it's so funny when it comes to blue collar, I always talk about these other people as like civilians, like they're just regular people, but we're hard work. And I put us way ahead of a lot of other people. I don't give a shit people say. If you're normal, working in an office job, and you see this and it upsets you, I'm sorry. I'm not trying to gaslight you, but at the end of the day, we don't only use our bodies, we have to use our minds every single day. And it is one of the hardest jobs, and it takes a toll on a lot of different areas of our life. And those are going to be conversations for another day. But for this one, please, please, please put that effort into learning your base, build that foundation, simultaneously learn communication with some of these other people, because I guarantee you, as time evolves, it'll open up more doors for you. Because at the end of the day, that's what this is all about. Because the more doors that open up for you, maybe you open up doors for people below you. Everybody's unequal as far as like the people that work with their hands every day. I have nothing but love and respect. I don't care if you're the guy at the bottom of the totem pole or the guy at the top. I have a big respect for people. So learn these things, use them to your ability. I really think it's going to help you grow inside of either your own company or within somebody else's company, or at least you can use the platform of somebody else's company to learn. Maybe you take that and you start your own. But either way, these are foundational things that I think will really help change your business, change your outlook, change how you do things. And in the end, you will win. I appreciate you guys being here. Once again, it really means the world to me. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. And while you're at it, smash the like button again. Really, I'm just trying to do my best to bring you as much information as I can. And I want to make sure we grow this thing and get some eyeballs on it, because now is our time to thrive. So I appreciate you guys. Have an amazing day. Keep crushing it. Peace.